Taiwan is bursting with heaps of fun places to explore. Join me, Amber Hatfield, as I hit up travel hotspots, soak up some culture, and hunt down hidden gems. Let's go! Welcome back to Let's Go. Today I'm joined again by the lovely Kim.
Hello.
And we're going to chat about Cambodia,
Yay.
which I feel like is a destination that people don't often talk about or even go to.
Mm-hmm. I sort of get the same feeling. When people think Southeast Asia, they think Thailand.
Yeah.
Or even Vietnam now. But not really Cambodia.
And especially in Taiwan as well. I feel like I don't think I've ever met someone here that has said that they've been to Cambodia before.
I went with a friend that's here. We went together to Cambodia, and she'd been once before, so she was kind of like the tour guide for me when we went.
I'd love to know what you did there, how long you went for, and what was your kind of first impressions of it.
So I went, I think it was maybe 5 days. My first impression was it was quite rural. That's a hard word for me to say, sorry. Because that's largely because of its history, though. It's underdeveloped compared to the other Southeast Asian nations because of tragically, the genocide that occurred there. So it's a very different feeling, even when you get off the plane, how kind of sparse it is. And it feels that way. And it's not as rich of a nation, too. It's still kind of building, and it's trying to build its tourism up. And I can't speak to how it is now, but we landed in Phnom Penh and spent a day and a half there. And because we wanted to go to the killing fields, which is a very difficult place to go. It's like, I guess, akin to going to like Auschwitz, and just like that feeling. I haven't been to Auschwitz, but I can kind of gather how it would feel going there. It was a lot, and it shaped my perspective of the entire trip.
Okay.
Because when you go there, you can get like the tapes or whatever to listen, and I think it's really important to do that there. I usually don't, but there's not a lot of English in Cambodia. And so that was like an integral part of being in the killing fields, was listening to that and going around and learning what happened to the people there from the Khmer Rouge, and which used to be one of the most recent genocides. Now it's not, but it was a lot for me. I'm a very emotional person, and I was like catatonic by the end of it, but I was also more educated, I guess, about Cambodia. And I think it's like, if you had to go, I would do it first.
Okay.
Personally, I don't want to say get it out of the way, but just because it will impact your journey there in a positive way, because you'll find that there's an entire generation missing because of the genocide there. And that's when you'll notice there's no elderly people there. You'll maybe see like one or two, and that's quite sobering. I feel, especially like living here or in Japan or America or wherever. Like, it's just, you see generations of all sorts everywhere, but there you won't. And it's quite sad, but also like I found it inspiring too, because of the resilience of the people moving forward and trying to, I guess, overcome that loss for the better.
Yeah. The killing fields, I actually also went to Cambodia before, but I went there much before I even came to Taiwan. So I don't remember it very well, I feel like. But I do remember going to the killing fields in Phnom Penh as well. And I remember that night just having like a very strange mood. Like, I just didn't feel really good at all. I mean, of course, it's like just a very sad thing. So I just felt very kind of blue, I guess. Yeah, a little bit down.
Yeah, the hardest thing to see there, I think, is there's a what is it called? Like a memorial, I guess, of the skulls for the bodies that they can't find, and they're just stacked up, and it's very intense to see that. And like I said, that will like kind of ruin your day, but I think it's also a good experience in that you're understanding more of what happened in this country, and what you're doing there is contributing to an economy that needs to be built up for the better.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of the economy needing to be built up, and you said before that, like, obviously you noticed that it's much poorer or, less developed than other countries in Southeast Asia, like Thailand or Vietnam. How would you describe kind of how that comes across with the local people? Because, I mean, I think about like how, sometimes when you go to a country, it's more obvious that people are maybe
The wealth gaps.
Yeah,
I didn't notice it at all. Like,
okay.
it just felt sort of homogenous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there were like, I mean, there's definitely estates and things, and like there's 5-star hotels and stuff. But going to those, it's like Vietnam as well. They're cheaper to go to, and that feels kind of icky to me, because it doesn't feel like the general population is benefiting from that being so cheap either. So if there is a wealth gap, it's probably like 90% underpaid and 10% overly paid. Like that's kind of my guess. The economy is not great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
And it's also a very cheap place to travel.
Yes.
Right.
It's stupid cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like usually in Southeast Asia you haggle at markets and stuff, but I felt terrible haggling. So I was like, no, I'm just going to pay the price. I don't care. It's fine. Like whatever helps.
Yeah, that's also how I feel like I felt, and I have felt in other places as well, that I know some people do it, like when you go to a market and you try and get the cheapest price, but it's just like this horrendous guilt that I feel like this is actually already really cheap for me. Yes. I don't think I need to make it any cheaper.
No, like I'm not benefiting from that in any way, but I am helping them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm helping them give me like a souvenir for me to remember this lovely place by. So I'm more than happy to pay full price personally.
Yeah. I'm sure when you went to Cambodia, you probably visited some kind of ruins or things like
that. Angkor
Wat.
You gotta go to Angkor Wat.
Yep. Let's talk about Angkor Wat.
It's gorgeous. I had kind of a crazy experience when I went though, because we took an overnight bus from Phnom Penh, and my friend woke me up abruptly, and I didn't have my glasses on, and I'm like legally blind. And so I like stumbled out of the bus, and I was like gathering my things, and I was darting down the bus in the dark, and it was so crowded that you couldn't see like the floor lights because it was nighttime. And I didn't realize that there was a big drop at the end of the path in the bus, and I just like dropped and fell just straight onto my knee, and the whole bus heard it, and everybody just went and I jumped up. I was like, I'm fine. And then I got onto a tuk-tuk with my friends and looked down at my knee, and I was not fine. It was busted up pretty bad.
Oh no.
But we were going to Angkor Wat the next day. And it's not just one temple or anything like that. Angkor Wat is an entire like empire that's been slowly uncovered, and it's still being uncovered today. So when you go, it's not just like there it is, smile, like there's a reflecting pool, whatever. There's way more to it than that, which I think a lot of people going don't realize. And so it's very important that if you get a good tuk-tuk driver, which I highly recommend hiring one for the day, they'll take you to all the really nice spots and help you avoid getting ripped off. And which again is not a big problem for me there, because everybody could use a helping hand there, I think. But if that's like a thing that bothers you, whatever, you do you, whatever makes you comfortable traveling. But like we got a nice guy, and he took us everywhere, like to all these really cool spots. But I had trouble walking a little bit because of my leg, and there's a lot of stairs, and it was so hot. It was so hot, but it was very worth it. Like, I had a lot of fun, and it was really interesting.
Yeah, when I went there, I remember we went really early in the morning.
Yeah, you got to see the sunrise there. Yeah, but we did that on a different day. We asked our tuk-tuk driver to come back. He actually still keeps in touch with our little friend group from time to time. He was very sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get texts from him like once a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he was really cool.
Oh, wow, okay. Are there any other temples or any other kind of more well-known spots apart from Angkor Wat that you visited or you would?
I would say most of them are in Angkor Wat, the whole area. I don't remember the name of it, but there's one specific temple in Angkor Wat that was used for Tomb Raider that people like to go and see. And it's really cool. Aesthetically, it's very cool. It's got all the vines and stuff. And then there's, of course, like big Buddhas that you can go see that are gorgeous and pretty typical Southeast Asian artwork and things like that. I actually got really sick my last night there, so I didn't get to do a lot of things in Phnom Penh because I drank a mango slushie that I shouldn't have. Oh, no. Yeah, and I'm very sensitive to that stuff, so I was so ill on my bus ride back from Siem Reap. So
oh yeah, actually that's something that I didn't think about the food and kind of like whether or not you can drink the water and eat the food and things like that.
Yeah, I didn't have trouble with the food, but I'm positive it was the mango slushie because that was the only thing that I had that had water in it that wasn't like from a bottle. And so I got like Giardia or something, and and I had to get on a plane like a day and a half later, and I was like, this is the worst.
Oh no, yeah, that's not good. That's not fun.
So you definitely be careful, like always carry bottled water with you, or just buy bottled water specifically. That was on me. It was good.
But was it worth it?
No.
What about the food? Because I feel like, of course, as the country is kind of still quite underdeveloped, I would say, it doesn't really have such a distinct cuisine that I noticed as much as, like Thailand or Vietnam, of course.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything distinct that I recall eating, but I'm also not very food savvy, unfortunately. I have a very poor relationship with food in general. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about it. It was good, I know that, like, but it did remind me of like Thailand, like Thai food and stuff, which is excellent. Everything I had there was delicious.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't really recall something that's specifically a Cambodian food, but there probably is. So if you are from Cambodia, please let me know.
Yeah. I know there is a national dish, and I'm drawing a blank on what it is.
How did you get around then while you were there? Was it just tuk-tuks the whole time, or did you kind of hire your own scooters or anything?
No, Phnom Penh was pretty easy to navigate. Sans like a tuk-tuk driver. I think we did get on one from time to time. And generally, like, they all spoke, or at least enough English to like understand like the hot spots to go to. And then we took the overnight bus, which was a daunting task, but an interesting experience. And then in Angkor Wat, we just hired our tuk-tuk driver for the day, and that was cool. And like I said, we kept in touch with him, and mostly tuk-tuk. And I think it's fun. I like riding the tuk-tuks. There's people that tend to be scared of them, and I just think they're really fun.
I think they're fun too. Yeah, there's just such a different experience. Yeah, for sure. When I was there, I also hired a scooter. I was there for quite a while because I was, at that point, it was before I came to Taiwan, and I traveled in Southeast Asia for a while. I had the opportunity to spend like 3 months kind of going from Singapore kind of up through Thailand up to across Cambodia and to Vietnam. So I got a lot of time, but I did hire a scooter when I was in Cambodia, and I had a very interesting experience with that because I had a little bit of a accident.
Oh no.
And so I was driving on this kind of country road back to a hostel that I was staying in, and there was kind of suddenly a lot of sand or grit on the road, and my tires just skidded out, and I went over and I scratched all my knee up and everything, on my leg up and my elbows and stuff like that, kind of scraped off all the skin. And people were standing on the side of the road, and they kind of looked at me, but they didn't really do anything. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting up. I got back up and I drove along, and I got almost back to my hostel, and on a corner there was I think it was like a kind of a scooter shop come little kind of restaurant. I don't know, kind of not sure what was going on with that place, but I went in there and I asked, like, do they have any kind of bandage or anything like that, because I needed something on my leg because I was bleeding a lot. And the lady in there was really sweet, but she didn't really have any of the stuff, like medical stuff. So she just started treating me with like scooter oil and like things. So she's just getting bottles of things that you would use for mechanics and just rubbing them on me.
That's so upsetting.
And they were stinging so much, and she's like, it's okay. And she's just wiping them, It was really sweet, but it was quite a story. And I ended up having to kind of be limping around for the next few days, and had a kind of, I think, a bit of whiplash as well.
Yeah, so of course. Yeah.
It was not fun, but
oh my God.
Definitely an experience.
Yeah.
And kind of showed me the kindness of someone who obviously didn't really have the things to help me, but she was trying to help me anyway.
Yeah, the people there are very lovely, very sweet. Yeah, I enjoyed them a lot.
Is there anything that you would love to talk about Cambodia that I haven't asked you?
Let's see. I do think the history of Cambodia is, although it's very tragic, it's very interesting to discuss. I actually read recently that a couple of years ago, some of the lasting members of the Khmer Rouge that they found got convicted in a tribunal for crimes against humanity, which was, I didn't realize that because that was well after I'd gone. So when we were there, they were just hiding out.
Wow.
And so that's interesting and quite frankly awesome that they found them based on the horrible things that a lot of them did. It's much too graphic to get into on the radio. Like, that's how horrible it is. And so I think if you're going to go there, as compared to like most other countries, read the history, prepare yourself for it, because it is an emotional place to go to and a valid lesson to learn, because you don't hear about Cambodia. I only knew a little bit about it prior to going because I knew a TA at my uni that was from Cambodia who saw his family get killed in front of him when he was a child.
Wow.
And so, like, these trials have been going on since like 1999. And that's just bonkers to me, like, that it's in such recent history and nobody knows anything about it. Like, and it's not in common knowledge. So I strongly urge people to look into it. Don't define it by that, but rather visit it to help raise awareness and help build up their economy. I think that would be a benefit of going there. As opposed to like Japan or Thailand or something where you're just going to go and have fun, see some temples or something. Like, definitely go to Angkor Wat. You've got to go to Angkor Wat. Like, it's gorgeous, and give yourself at least 2 days to do that. But just, it's beautiful there. And I love how untouched it is by like a lot of technological advances as well, which is really cool. Yeah,
that's true. One other thing I would love to say is that I feel like people don't know that Cambodia has islands, right? Like islands like Koh Tao in Thailand or things like that.
And stuff,
but you actually have them as well for Cambodia. And I went to a couple of them. I think it was called Koh Rong and Koh Rong, I'm probably butchering this, but San Leom or Koh Rong San Lom. And it's so beautiful.
I'm sure,
And it's quite surprising and also kind of refreshing that there's not that much tourism on there. So if you go down to Sanukville, which is like on the coast, and then you take the boat over to these islands, and they're just so peaceful and kind of quiet, not a lot of people at all, really beautiful beaches. And I never knew that Cambodia had islands like that, because I always just thought that's something that Thailand has, and I didn't know that Cambodia has it. So I think that's also worth going to, and it's probably good for, tourism and everything too.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're a beach bum, added bonus, which is like my least favorite thing to do when I travel, because I like to go to I like traveling to learn.
Okay.
That's why I like to go to the temples and the museums and stuff. I'm a big nerd. That's why I travel, is just to learn. Because I think I think it should be required in university to study abroad at least once, because it makes such a difference with your worldview that there's more than where you're from.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great time to end it. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
And I'll see you next week for another episode of Let's Go. See you there.